Welcome to another episode of the Assisted Living Podcast. Today I have my partner in crime, Lonnie Steckler. Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you too.
So the other day you had your grand opening at Deerfield Grand Villages. That's how you pronounce it, right?
No, it's the Villages. It's Villages of Deerfield Beach, the Village of Deerfield Beach, formerly known as Grand Villa.
Okay.
Yes, we had our grand opening. We've been in operation for 3 months now, and I couldn't be more excited. The grand opening went off without a hitch, and we had such great support from the community, from you, from everybody involved. From the top, the partnership, to the staff. Like, they did an amazing job putting that together, and it really gave us an opportunity to show out, and show the community how special that particular place is. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, so first I want to apologize because I got the name wrong. I should know the name. Not only are we partners in multiple businesses, I also manage the social media. And that's probably why I can't find them when I go to the search bar, because I'm putting in the wrong name. So the Villages of Deerfield. Just an incredible evening. Just saw a lot of familiar faces, old faces I hadn't seen in the industry in a very, very long time. So that was cool. It was always cool to reconnect with everybody.
Yeah, for me the same, because this is my first time back in Broward in 10, 11 years.
That's crazy.
So it's great to see the same faces and to reconnect with people. So yeah, very excited.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I was having little side conversations with everybody. They were so impressed with the community. And you've been there a short amount of time, but they're telling me that they're starting to see the difference in the community, from how clean it is, the level of care, the people just smiling, interacting with everyone. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've implemented since you've taken over?
Sure. We've put in, well, starting with dietary, we hired a chef who has done an incredible job elevating the quality of food and the menu. She really takes great pride in serving top-notch food. So, for instance, when we had the grand opening event, we were discussing, okay, where, we should get it catered. She said, absolutely not. You are not outsourcing for this. I am going to take care of everything, every detail. And she said, please give me this opportunity. And she came through, in a big way. She did an amazing job. You were there. The food was excellent. The presentation was unbelievable. And it just, that level of detail and passion, it shows in the quality of food that she provides at the facility.
I'll tell you what was awesome was the cocktails.
Yes. Well, that's our activity director. So she came up with a drink. It's called the Village.
The
Village. It was really good, right?
Presented well.
It had like a lavender color to it, and it was extremely tasty. And that's our activities director.
Incredible.
Like, it's great to have an activities director that can be a bartender.
Yeah.
She does happy hour every week for the residents, and they love it. They can't live without their happy hour.
Right.
So yeah, little things like that, and just putting in the right pieces. We didn't have to make too many changes, but the few changes that we made, we did it very strategically and with a lot of intent. So the people that we brought in have done an incredible job filling in the gaps, and I think the staff and the residents, they see that ownership is coming in with heart, with the right attitude, and whenever that happens, they want to do more. They want to be better as well. So I think that's what we're starting to see there. And
I just have to tell you the ice sculpture when I walked in, the $10,000 ice sculpture that it was just incredible.
The
Did you really pay?
10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pay $10,000 for that ice sculpture? It was going around.
So for the audience, the event was on March 31st. which is very close to April 1st. So we did have an ice sculpture, and when it was brought in, it was brought in as a surprise to me. And the administrator, Jim Burns, comes to me. He's like, "Hey, Lonnie, isn't this great?" "Yeah, it's great." He says, "Yeah." He's like, "I just got the invoice here. You can take care of that." And so I open up the invoice, and it's over $10,000. And as I'm looking at it, I look up and I see everybody looking at my whole team looking at me and just waiting on my reaction. And just before I blew up, Jim says, "Happy April Fools."
What an incredible
Yeah, it
joke!
was
I thought
funny.
that was pretty. That was
Yeah,
pretty
it's
funny,
great.
pretty clever. What kind of, as we move on to our topic today on our episode, but last question I have about the community is, what kind of feedback are you getting from the previous residents that were under the previous leadership, and now you guys come in? What type of feedback are you getting back from them?
I'm getting great feedback. I think at first they were very nervous,
Sure.
very cautious. They didn't know what to expect. Family members too. And, with any new business, there's going to be some kinks, some things that you got to work out. But I think now is when we're really starting to hit our groove. So, things like billing or policy change, those things, have to be done and have to be done with minimal uh, impact or feeling to the residents and families. So it's inevitable that they're going to feel some of it, but I think now they like the staff, they see that we are easy to work with. We're available to communicate with. I mean, that's like m- the most important thing for me is to always maintain a line of communication with the residents and the family members. So ownership is always visible. They're always available. We want you to go through the proper channels, but if you're not satisfied, talk to us. And so I think they see that now. The call is being answered if there's an issue, and I think now they're starting to get it and they're starting to feel really good about the village.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can just see it when you walk in there and the people that you talk to.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it. So just an incredible job by you
Thanks.
and your staff and your team, and I see a lot of success for that community. So touching on memory care, which is a big topic when it comes to assisted living, you guys have a memory care, and I really want to educate our audience on memory care and when is Medicare memory care appropriate for a family member. What's the difference between a memory care and regular assisted living? So I really want to dive deep into this because I get a lot of questions over memory care, and I know that we've touched it softly,
Mm-hmm.
but really getting into the nuts and bolts of what memory care is.
Okay. Um, Memory care is a specialized service that is provided under an assisted living license. So there's no special license you need other than a standard assisted living license. But what is required is staff that is trained on how to take care of people with Alzheimer's disease, and that or other dementia related diseases, and that is in the regulations, that is in the law. So memory care, typically, um, well, you can see it in many forms. So you can have a standalone memory care community. I have one in Pensacola. It's a 40-bed memory care facility uh, solely dedicated to that type of care. Or it could be a part of a bigger assisted living facility that offers different levels of care, and you might see it on a specialized unit or floor. And that's another way that you can experience memory care. And sometimes you see it on a smaller scale with homes that take care of people with dementia. So there's many different ways that you can visualize that you can see it. Um, the one our facility in Deerfield, the village, that has a floor. We're three stories high, so that one has a floor that's dedicated. Um, in all memory care facilities, you'll see a different level of security and safety. Um, those units or those buildings have to be protected from residents leaving the facility. So typically there's um, door alarm systems, door security systems, window security, camera systems, because that particular population needs a high degree of supervision.
Right. So if I'm a family member looking for memory care for my family member, what are some of the things that I look for, and are all memory cares the same, or different communities do different things and they have different ways of uh, taking care of the resident?
All memory care facilities are not the same.
Okay.
They are all unique in its own way. So it could be size. Um, there are very large memory care facilities. I've seen some as big as 70, 80, 100 beds. And then there are smaller ones that could be as small as 6 beds, or like my facility in Pensacola, where it's 40 beds. So size does matter with memory care. Um, you want to be sensitive to your loved one and how they respond to large groups. Um, some people with dementia will really have a bad reaction or bad response to being in a large crowd or a lot of noise. And so you want to be sensitive to that when you're choosing the right environment for your loved one. Um, and then the other side of that is your loved one may need connection, may needs a lot of people in order to feel safe. Um, so those are the details that you really got to hone in on when you're looking for the right environment. And I'm going to keep saying the right environment because um, that is just so critical, just to figure out what the right environment is. So the number of people that plays a role, the type of activities they have, that also plays a role in determining the right environment.
How do you know that you're in a right environment? I guess you would have to leave your parent there, your grandparent there to see, right? I guess that would be the start. But how long do you make a decision where this is not a good fit and I need to pull them out?
That's a great question. Um, and I would say, um, the first 2 weeks are critical when you're when you're new in a facility as a person with dementia. I would say at minimum 2 weeks to see how they adjust to being in that environment, and it, it may not go so easy. I've seen it go every which way. I've seen residents come in and they struggle adjusting, but after 2 3 weeks, they find their groove and they're in the right place.
Right.
Um, so I would say like by 2 months, you should know whether or not it's a good fit.
Right, right. The other thing that I've heard in memory care is sometimes you want them in a shared room versus a private room. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about the social interaction,
Sure.
the need for connection. And that's something that we have our entire life as human beings, and it doesn't end when you're a senior and when if you have dementia. So one of the things that I've seen is the benefit of having a roommate uh, with two people that have dementia. And uh, I think family members come in and they insist on, initially they always insist on having a private room. And I talked to them about our experience with residents having a roommate. It gives them a sense of security, number one, because they've shared, if they had a spouse or they've shared a room their entire life, so they're used to having a companion next to them. And also, it gives them, that connection, that social connection that they need um, next to them. Uh, and so I see a great deal of success rather than failures when it comes to roommates in that environment. And so I promote that in my facilities. And and also for the family members too, because what happens is the family members connect with the roommate's family a lot
Right.
of the time,
Right.
and it becomes um, I guess, a network for them
Sure.
to be able to uh, know somebody who's in the same place that they are. It gives them another resource.
Right.
So I've seen family members become close um, many times.
Yep. So one of the things with memory care, it's a lot higher price than regular assisted living, and sometimes you have families that struggle with, being able to pay for that, or the actual resident being able to pay for that. The average, from data I looked up, is about 7,000 is the
Mhm.
average nationally for memory care. At what point, a patient that's suffering from dementia, at what point do they really have to go to a memory care? Working, at what point do you have to, like, okay, we gotta make this decision for the well being of our parent, our grandparent? Um, yeah, like, if I because I'm gonna, I get this question asked a lot. Like, I don't have the money, right? So what am I supposed to do? And I
Mhm.
can't take care of them at home, but they have Alzheimer's.
Yeah. It's typically when you feel like their safety is being compromised,
Sure.
that they're having a lot of falls at home. You're going to the apartment and you're seeing bruises all over their body. They're forgetting things. They're leaving the stove on. They're leaving the apartment and getting lost. I mean, those are all the telltale signs. Um, and and it shouldn't be a decision that you make on your own. You should have, hopefully you have good family support, but if you don't, you should reach out to the primary care physician, uh, uh, hopefully the one that's been treating your mom or dad for a long, long time and knows them real well, and get help. Like the decision, it's a tough decision to make, and I understand the stress involved when making it. So make sure you use as many resources as you can.
Right now, there's about a million. I think it's 1.1 million beds for memory care throughout the country. You have about a million
It's not
residents.
enough.
It's not enough. I know. So you have 7 million Americans right now that have Alzheimer's. They're predicting by 2050 there's going to be 13 million,
Hmm.
uh, patients or residents, or people with, not residents, but people with Alzheimer's. Uh, is there going to be enough beds in the next upcoming years to be able to facilitate this need?
I don't think so. I think it's a great need. And if you look at uh, memory care facilities, at least in Florida, I mean,
Hmm.
I can reference Florida because that's what I know really well. Um, the memory care facility in Pensacola is full. The one in Deerfield, the village, I think they have two or three beds available. So, and I have experience throughout my career and throughout, owning and operating assisted living facilities of having these type of units or facilities. And I'll give you an example. The one that we had in Miami, the Point of
The
North
point.
Gables, we we had that building for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years without a memory care area, memory care section. Always wanted to do it. I've had it in all my other facilities, and it was just a matter of figuring out the right time and where to do it and training the staff. There's a lot of logistics that you need to take care of. And really, after COVID, is when I saw the opportunity because unfortunately we lost a portion of our community. Um, not that they died, but they went to skilled nursing
Right.
facilities
Right.
and required higher levels of care. But losing those residents gave us an opportunity to do memory care, and so we went full throttle. We reserved a section. We had, I think it was 8 rooms, um, and we got it. We 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 um, we determined that there would be a capacity of 15 or 16 residents. We hired the staff. We trained them. I tell you, within 45 days, we had that place full.
Incredible.
Yeah, there's such a great need, um, and like we're talking about COVID. One of the things that I learned through COVID is that no matter what, this type of care is always going to be needed. When we weren't allowed to take residents, I had literally family members knocking on my window saying, please, I need help. I can't take care of my mom. I can't take care of my dad at home anymore. It's too much. And so there's always going to be a need.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have seen in my years in the business, I have seen some memory cares that don't get full. Should that be an alarm?
I think so.
Right?
I
Yeah,
think so. Yeah.
yeah,
I think so. I think, it's definitely worth further investigation why they're not full. I mean, listen, you know, there could be a market where it's saturated with memory care facilities.
this market wasn't.
This market's not.
Yeah,
Well, Pensacola has a lot of them, but
yeah.
we still were able
Miami
to.
doesn't have a lot of memory cares.
Yeah, Miami doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, and this current, the community I'm speaking about had a hard time filling up their memory beds.
Yeah, I, it could be. It could be the care. It could be
And the pricing wasn't
reputation. It
that
wasn't
crazy. Yeah.
activity. I don't know how it presented, how it looked. Did it? I mean, was it?
No, it looked upscale.
Yeah.
They put some money behind it. They put a door. I just don't know. I think when you would walk in there, it just felt like
Hmm.
it was like no mood. I don't know. It just felt very depressing.
Right. And then it's how you market it. You know.
Right.
So it could be a number of things, but definitely worth investigating.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anything else you would like to add to the memory care as we come to a close here?
Look, there's so much we can. I mean, there are many things we can talk to when it comes to memory care. Um,
Does long term care pay more for memory care?
no, they pay the same.
They pay the same. Do you see in the future maybe a possibility of them increasing budgets for because there's going to be a need in the market?
You never know. I mean, right now there's some regulations. There's some legislation, I should say, that's being put through to um, further further regulate memory cares, but just um, to add things that are needed within the regulatory guidelines. Um, and I think there's some discussion too about a separate type of licensure for memory care facilities, um, apart from the standard assisted living, limited nursing.
Yeah. Well, makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, Lonnie, thank you again
You're welcome.
for doing this and really educating our people out there. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, sounds great.
All
Look
right,
forward to
let's
it.
do it.
Let's go.